Hey friends, TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs, the 4-time Retailer of the Year. I'm David Nuno. Sometimes I don't do the rewind anymore, but I decided to do it today. I got a couple of old buddies with me, Nick Savage and Matthew Dawson. Dawson, show the people that you're Staying Alive dance.
Well, it's not a dance. It's CPR. Like when you learn and get certified CPR, they're like, have a song in your head that's like 90 beats per minute, and it's like,
he just totally disregarded
staying alive.
My beat.
Oh, sorry. Well, look, it's hard. I don't know, but like that's my bad. Someone in the chat said I'm a ginger today. By the way, like, can we all agree that I'm not?
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
No, I'm kidding. There's nothing wrong with it. I didn't imply that at all. But I'm just saying
You're not.
I'm not a ginger.
It's like when somebody tells me I'm something that I'm not.
Yeah.
David, you're from Nicaragua. No, I'm not.
No, you're Cuban.
I'm a Cuban American, first generation Cuban American, right? And now we're going to talk about what's actually on the rewind today. Favorite part of the rewind, Dawson?
I'd say Josh Pate is always just really nice chat.
Okay. Nick Savage, your favorite part?
I'll go Will Johnson.
Okay. So no love for Alabama insider Tony Tsoukalas?
That's your boy.
How about Scott Livingstone?
Legend
in more ways than one. That and more. Check out the rewind now. To borrow that topic, what SEC coach would survive a 2-10 season? Because I don't think the list is very long. If Kalen DeBoer goes 2-10, bye. Hugh Freeze, bye. Like, there's a lot of coaches. Maybe Sark, because of the last few years, would survive that. But I don't know who would survive in the SEC. I know Mississippi State went 2-10. I'm talking about the teams that have knocked on the door or made the playoffs.
Kiffin's the one who would survive it, because Kiffin's the one who, we just talked about it, you have to have a combination of things. You have to have a ton of equity, so you have to have maximum equity built up, and you have to be a portal-heavy team, ironically. Because if you're a portal-heavy team, you can reasonably explain away, well, we played portal roulette. This particular year, it went bust on us, and that's the risk of going the portal route. Texas, I mean, they've used the portal, but vast majority of their rosters recruited. It's homegrown. Alabama's the same. Georgia's the same. So, I mean, I don't know that those coaches will be fired if they went 2-10, but if they went 2-10, it would be a far more disastrous outcome, because they will have gone 2-10 with their hand-picked players instead of the portal guys. That's like the difference in your car having terminal issues versus a rental car having terminal issues. You'd freak out a lot more scenario A versus scenario B.
Let me ask you one more coach that has to make the playoffs potentially. Mario Cristobal. Do you think he has to?
I don't think he has to, because I think another 9-win season, while it wouldn't satisfy them, would not warrant hot seat consideration. But see, here's the follow-up. All right, so let's say you're a Miami fan, and let's say you said that to me. Hey, Mario's got to make the playoff this year. I would ask you, David, okay, well, what are you saying happens if he doesn't? He goes 9-3. He has 3 losses by 10 points or fewer. What happens? Are you saying he gets fired? And your answer would probably be, well, I'm not necessarily saying he gets fired. And I would say, okay, stop. That means he doesn't have to make the playoff. That's kind of like when people say do or die. Well, okay, if you don't do the thing, are you dying? Because if you're not, it's not do or die. And figuratively, in this case, I don't think it's do or die in terms of a playoff for Mario. But at the same time, I think from an expectation standpoint, if they're not there, then all bets are off in terms of like avoiding the criticism. Because you'll notice, even after last year, I was down there last week. I had him on the show. He said, he didn't say these words exactly, but the general sentiment was we kind of wasted last year's team because we had a generational offense and we couldn't stop anything defensively. And he said it hurt. It hurt because that was made for TV offense, and we lost our way. Those were his exact words defensively.
Tony, navigate the schedule with me. I know they open up with Florida State, so kind of take me through some of the hard parts and what you think.
Yeah, so we just broke that down yesterday on our little podcast. Florida State is a tricky game. You look at them last year, and they're 2-10. But they're not a 2-10 team. I mean, they're going to be a lot better. And when you look at it, Alabama's really never started on the road like they have like they will. I mean, they played a road game at Texas, but that wasn't in week 1. They had a bunch of those games at neutral sites in the Nick Saban years, but just never like last year they went to Wisconsin, I think in week 3. It's different when you go week 1. And look, we've seen what Gus Malzahn can do against an Alabama team. I don't know if that's an Auburn thing, or I don't know if that will carry over to Florida State, but that could be dangerous. And Tommy Castellanos as the quarterback, a dual threat guy. I mean, like, I don't know. That game's kind of dangerous. If you're just kind of going through them, I don't really feel like some of the earlier games on the schedule. I think you could maybe look at the Wisconsin game. I think that's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be at home. I think obviously a lot of attention will be on that Georgia game. I'm not as high on Georgia. Obviously that's going to be a tough game. It's between the hedges. It's week 4 or week 5, I guess, because there's a bye week. I'm not a huge. I want to see it more from Gunnar Stockton. And I know I'm saying that, talking about a team that's also has an inexperienced quarterback in Ty Simpson, but there's a lot of things with that Georgia team that I'd have. They're replacing a lot on the offensive line. You're relying on a first-year starter at quarterback to gel with transfer receivers. I don't know. I have to believe it to see it. Kirby Smart's going to put together a good team, but I have to believe it to see it. One of the games I think that I would definitely pay attention to on Alabama's schedule is the South Carolina game. Seems like a trap game.
Scott, I'm going to go back to the first question I asked you, if they can make it interesting, and you said yes, they can make it interesting. So what do you think that means? Does that mean they have to win the SEC tournament to get in the postseason? You think get 3 wins, they're in the NCAA? It's like, what do you think is going to take for them to actually make it to where the selection committee is like, guys, I know they struggled and I know they this and that, but they did this at the end, and they look at who they beat. How many wins do you think it'll take this week?
I think they have to at least get to the championship game. I don't necessarily think that they have to win it, because you never know how the committee's going to look at it either, because whoever comes out of that other side of the bracket, whether it's Texas or Tennessee, what are they doing? Who are they playing? Who are they pitching? Are they setting up for the next week, not having injuries? Is that team trying to be in the top 16, the top 8? A lot of things will kind of fall into place as the week goes. We just have to keep winning. And I think if we can get to the championship game, win or lose, we've got a great chance to get in.
The game notes have Weston Moss going today. When he's been good, he's been really good. He's had a couple of rough outings recently. Just what do we think about Weston Moss and the fact that you're not really going with one of your go-to starters here to start off this tournament? But it does, if you do win, it does buy you a great rotation moving forward.
Yeah, I don't have any inside information on why Prager's not going. I'm not sure why. I figured you'd go with your horse, even though, Lampkin threw amazing this past weekend. But I like our chances with Moss as well. Let's see how long you can go, because I am a huge fan of fastball changeup. Huge fan. Being a hitter that had curveball, you can pick up a little bit easier, but fastball changeup, when you have good ones like that, and our starting pitching has good fastballs and changeups. So having that type of guy pitch, if it's not Prager, it gives us a chance, I believe.
All right, Scott, let's talk about some good things, because I feel like I've been peppering you with like the tough ones. Let's go good. You mentioned Justin Lampkin, that 15 strikeout performance, complete game. Like, it felt like there's been a couple points in this season where I felt like the season was over, right? The season felt over after Missouri. The season felt over after the Tennessee no-hitter, right? But it wasn't over. Now, they didn't follow up Saturday with a win on that Sunday, but that performance right there, I think, is like, we may not look at it as fondly as we could if they don't make the postseason, but I still think that was a generational performance.
Oh, yeah, 100%. As we watch the team go, they start to kind of go down a little bit, then they give you a little bit of a nugget that gives you hope, and they're like, whoa, okay, yeah, that's how this is going to start happening every day, all the time. Let's just keep rolling like this.
And, Alabama, I really go back to Alabama. You had 2 games tied going to the 9th. A&M lost 3 games this year where they had the lead going to the 9th inning. And those games were against Cal Poly, Arizona, and that one mentioned to Missouri. hold on to those leads against Cal Poly and Arizona. That's two good teams. You know what that does to your RPI? If they just do a few of these things we're talking about, all of a sudden the RPI is 40 and it's not in the mid-50s, and this is an at-large NCAA tournament team. I mean, it's just so close and so there for the taking. But that's what frustrates you a little more if you're the 12th man, if you're an Aggie, that they just couldn't quite go out and get those games.
From a football perspective, we're at a point where we're looking for reasons. And I think the biggest reason this team can be better next year, and I know the schedule's hard, it's supposed to be, is that your backfield, your running backs, that when and if healthy, and I expect them to be healthy, it's going to be the deepest in the conference, if not top 2, 3 in the conference.
When somebody asks me about football, the first thing I think about is they should be able to run the football this year, and that obviously we know what that leads to. The offensive line is back. So much of the offensive line is back, even some depth there. Your quarterback can run.
Yeah.
Marcel Reed can add to the run game. And then Le'Veon Moss comes back, Reuben Owens comes back, and Amari Daniels comes back. I like the tight ends who at times are an extension of the offensive line. Theo Mellon-Orstrom can block. New ones that have come in, they're pretty good.
Sure look great, yeah.
Yeah, I saw more spring ball this year than I have ever. And, I mean, I walked away from spring ball with number one on my mind. They should be able to run the football. And when you can do it, it adds a whole lot of other things you can do with that offense as well.
And if they can, I simplify it because it's more than this, but if they can tackle, I think their defense is going to be pretty good again.
Yeah. I actually was very impressed with the defensive front. We know the losses, the NFL draft picks that were lost. But it looked like a young, hungry, talented bunch up there on the defensive front this year. And, Albert Regis, he's not young anymore.
Yeah.
Cassius Howell, we've seen what he can do. He can play. DJ Hicks is going to emerge. And then some of those guys that are new in there, I mean, I was impressed with the defensive front. And that's a position going into the season. Most people just surface level. And if you're not inside A&M, they're going to be concerned about the defensive front because you lost 3 draft picks. But I like that defensive front. I think they're young and hungry, and it's going to go a long way in helping out everybody behind them, linebackers in the secondary as well.
All right, Dawson, I want you to close out the show, but not doing Staying Alive.
Sure.
Doing the Trump dance.
Wow.
As you're sitting, whatever, you're sitting.
Wow, what a great show today. We've seen better shows, but wow, can you really argue with what we had on today?
You didn't tell other people what to do, though.
Like and subscribe, and please share.
Why is your face doing that?
I faded out at the end there. Sorry, that's my bad.
Like
I'll be better next
the
time.
gyration
Make
in your
shows
neck. Really uncomfortable. We'll see you next time.